just a unbeatable experience. Thing's a trooper. This is my new favorite road tripping car. All right, well, that's super weird. It's currently pulled off. It's taking me through a drive-through. Tight lanes. I got a bus leaning in on me right now. This is some real driving. Well, I feel pretty stupid now. State of charge. Oh, look at that. Take over immediately in the turn. Pulling in another disengagement. All right, what's going on, y'all? I'm here in my new Tesla Model 3 Performance, and since I've had it, I'm just under 1,000 miles. This drive, we're gonna crack 1,000 miles, and I haven't really had a chance to run the battery down, to charger hop, to even really stop. I stopped at a supercharger the first day I had it just to plug it in, just to make sure everything was working correctly, which it was. So it's the Monday after Christmas here, and I'm itching to do a little trip. So I'm gonna take a drive up to Rhode Island here, and we're gonna kind of see how the route planning does, how the supercharger experience is. Superchargers are not a new experience for me with my F-150 Lightning since we had the adapter, but it is in Tesla. I haven't actually, other than renting a car and having to charge it up, I haven't actually had to charge to make it to a location with a Tesla yet. So this will be my first time. So let's kind of get into this. Let's see what it's all about, and see what living this stress-free Tesla life is all about. Alrighty, so here's our lifetime 928. We're gonna come here and we're gonna reset this one. We're gonna call this one RI test. We're gonna save it. I'm gonna wait to reset it once we get going so we get the true efficiency. I'm starting here at 44% state of charge. Did that purposely just so I could get a little charging experience, because the drive up and back here is not enough if I had charged it up. So this will have me charge twice, I'm assuming, on the way. So let's take a look. We're gonna navigate to here. So this is always the thing I talk about, right? Point A to point B is easy, but I gotta come back. I also, setting and coming in at a 10% arrival, I'm probably going to be bouncing around, meeting a buddy, having some lunch. So I want to make sure I leave a little bit of energy in here. So this is what's cool. Let's say 25% gives me a little bit of a buffer. So I'm going to the same Mystic. I did show this on a better route planner where I maxed out my arrival state of charges, not charging past 60% to maximize the charging curve in this vehicle. And I did run this on a better route planner where I was able to say, come in with the low state of charge, don't charge past 60 to be able to get it there. And Mystic was what it wanted me to do. However, I got to make my way back. So we're going to come here, we're going to edit the trip. We're going to add a stop, and we're going to do home. And that's how we want to look at it. So let's see what this does. It's calculating up the route. We're still going to Mystic. We're going there, just charging a little bit longer in Mystic. We get there at 33, but here I can do this. Let's go 15%. I just don't want to run it down too low in case I don't plug in tonight. I want to maximize the free charging at my office. So you know what? So when I did this in a better route planner, this was exactly what it did in a better route planner. So this looks like the thing. I am on software. I'm on software 25.45.5, and I have the full self-driving of 14.2.2. So we're going to see, actually, I think I'm somewhere around 80%, 79% since I've been on 14. So we're gonna see how the full self-driving life starts, and we're gonna get on the way. So let's start it. Whoop, let's go reset trip, Rhode Island, and we're off. Let's see how this does. Backing me out of the spot. I got my full self-driving set to Mad Max. There's my Lightning. Sorry, not taking you this time. And we'll see how it runs. Got a few phone calls to make here for work as we're closing up the year. So car's gonna drive me. I'm gonna talk on the phone. And if anything interesting happens, I'll keep you updated. Otherwise, we'll check in as we're pulling in to the supercharger, which right now says we're gonna get there at 9% state of charge. So it's 40 degrees out. We got kind of cloudy, overcast, rainy weather. So we'll see how the computer does in estimating where we get in. So we'll keep you posted. We'll catch you then. All right, we're just a little bit into the drive. It's pretty foggy. It's a little rainy. There's a bunch of stuff getting kicked up, and I just got the first alert here. Camera visibility limited. Clear dirt, debris, or water from the camera on the right side. So far, FSD is doing great. Other than that alert, I haven't really seen anything else. We're just gonna kind of swipe it out of the way and ignore it. While we are doing an update, it has dropped from what was originally stated at a 9% arrival is now a 7% arrival. Check out our energy screen. We've consumed almost 10%. It's 1% more than, can I do this? Yeah, 1% more than originally projected. We'll keep you posted, but it's pretty, I mean, if FSD can get through kind of crummy conditions like this, we're starting to find some really, really good application for this, because I know a lot of people that a drive like this would stress them out, and they wouldn't really want to be taking on a longer drive in conditions like this, where I'm just sitting back, listening to some podcasts, and letting the car do the work. So far, so good. All right, and just like that, the first leg is over. I'll tell you what, the conditions weren't great. 0 disruptions to full self-driving. I spent the whole time catching up with my team, talking on the phone, flew by, so much so I had to cut this call short so I could even catch this. We're pulling in here at about 5% state of charge. Oh, look at that. Take over immediately in the turn. Okay, so just as I'm saying it, we had our first disengagement. I'm going to throw it back on, see what happens as we're going in. I have not full self-drive to a supercharger yet, so I assume this will pull it right into a spot, but I don't know. You can see the cameras are pretty murky here. I am getting a note that 1B is out of order. Pulling in another disengagement. I think it has to do with that turn. Let's see if we can throw it on one more time to get it going. No, it doesn't like these turns. Interesting. It's got to be a weather-related thing. I mean, it is pretty gross out. 1B is out of order, and of course I'm getting there to pull into 1B, so let's try to pull into 1A. Let's do this here, and let's get her into 1A. I got to get used to parking in the right stalls for Teslas. I've had to do it so much so. I wonder if this snow is gonna cause a little problem here, if it'll reach. I'm gonna get right up to it. Let's see how that does. All right. Yeah, that should reach no problem. Grab you, hit you, and we're in. Check on this handshake here. We're connecting, and we're charging. All right, let's see what we get. Pulled in at 5% state of charge. Ramped up to 169 here, 9 minutes to continue the trip. 174. It's been preconditioning for about 30 miles or so. Here we go. We're ramping up a little bit. 204, 212, 221, 230, 240. So really unfortunate on the last two disengagements. I'm sure it has to do with the camera visibility. I was getting those alerts that it was poor visibility out of some of the pillar cameras throughout the drive, but it handled the drive, lane changes and everything just fine. We're at 250, pulling full power here. I'm sure it had to do with the visibility of the cameras, but unfortunate that I didn't get to see how it was going to do pulling into the supercharger. Really want to test that out. So hopefully I got to hit one more supercharger on the way back home. So hopefully that will do it. Absolutely stress-free driving right up until the last two disengagements. I will say though, my biggest knock I have is these freaking wipers, man. I don't understand how this car can drive itself from point A to point B pretty much disengagement free, but they can't figure out auto wiping windshields. I was kind of bouncing it into, off, between auto, between one, and the wipers were going. So let's take a look. 95 miles in, 319.6 watt hours per mile. I was so busy talking on the phone, I missed the 1,000-mile update. Didn't even watch it, eclipse it there. So my total lifetime efficiency, I picked this car up on December 9th in some cold, sub 50 degree weather the entire time and some really cold days. Just about 312 watt hour per mile total efficiency here. Let's take a look at our energy. It consumed 2% more than it projected. It was probably the speed. I was on Mad Max the entire time. The only other thing, I didn't get a video of it because I was talking on the phone, but it will just, in Mad Max, it just camps out in the left lane, even when there was a car driving equal to or faster than I was in the right lane with no other cars around, and it would just hang there in the right lane. I don't love that. I wish there was some logic to say, up to the speed profile it wants to go, it would then move into the right lane and just settle into the right lane, especially now that Connecticut and a bunch of states across the country have made just driving in the left-hand lane illegal and ticketable. I wish that would have done that. But that's kind of minor concerns here. You can always drop it down to standard, and it tends to do that when you get into the standard profiles, but I left it in Mad Max the whole way. So that was the trip. We're already coming off of peak here for the last few, or held its peak charge a little bit longer, but we're down under 200 kilowatts right now. Even though it doesn't hold its peak power, it does get you on your way and going pretty quick. So these stops are pretty short, which is nice. That is definitely a change from having a minimum of 20 minutes to up to 45 minutes on the Lightning whenever you're road tripping. Got a lot more time. So let me figure out where I'm going. I'll catch back in. All right. I got my new destinations plugged in here. So I told it I want to arrive at this rink with 25% state of charge, and then I also want to get home with 15% state of charge. We're at 39% right now, pulling 122 kilowatts. It says 6 minutes remaining. So yeah, I'll tell you what, this from somebody who's spent 65,000 miles in an EV, going into this, or almost 70,000 miles in an EV. This is just a unbeatable experience. But it's one thing to see it, and it's one thing to hear about it and have people talk about it. It's another thing, having taken my past experiences with all of the other stuff that I needed to do and planning, and, you know, well, what if I get here, and then how long till I get there? How far do I need to charge? What state of charge do I need to arrive at? And just how slick this thing is. I mean, truly is not even thinking about it anymore. It is really just think about what you need, tell it what you need, and then it tells you what to do, and you follow it. It did come in when I started my trip. It said I was going to get here at 9%. I pulled in at 5%. I think that's close enough. It never really dropped below 5%. And there's plenty of charging options around here, so no concern in that whatsoever. Yeah, so far so great. All right, we just hit 50% state of charge. We're pulling 100 kilowatts. I'm waiting for this thing to drop below 100 kilowatts. I mean, that is not amazing charging at 50% battery. This is definitely one of these, if you're interested in getting to your destination as fast as possible, I got to be honest, I'm not staying here much past 50. I feel like, 45 to 50 would be the max I would stay if I was trying to just cover miles. It seems to be holding the 100 kilowatts here longer than it's held most of its charging curve since it's come off max peak. It's saying 1 minute to continue the trip, though I did say I wanted to get here at 25 and there at 15, so I think I'm going to get there I'm going to get to my destination here in Rhode Island with more state of charge than I need, but it's because it's giving me a little buffer to get to New London, where originally I think it wanted me to go to Richmond, Rhode Island, so it's going to stretch it a little bit further, but it's still showing that 15% arrival back home, and it's just playing with the time it's going to take me to charge in New London. 53, we're still holding 101. So it's held that for at least the last 6 or 7%. I actually don't know the full charge profile of this car yet. This is literally the first time, other than just plugging it in for a couple percent to make sure it worked. It's calculating. We're at 54%. It's going to tell me it's time to go, I'm assuming. I don't know why else it would be calculating. I guess it says continue trip. So it's time to continue the trip. This place here in Mystic, Connecticut, the supercharger, I took a quick little walk. There is around the backside, there's a Starbucks, but it's a good little walk. There's some sort of restaurant over here. But one of the things I did notice, they didn't do a great job plowing here. They did do a much better job. Plowing over at these stalls. So what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's a 12 site. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those 7 they plowed really well. These ones, not so much. 1B is out of order, which is right here. So we're going to unplug. I'm going to go drive over to Starbucks, use the restroom, maybe grab something to eat real quick for the ride, and be on the way. That was $16.46, 37 cents a kilowatt hour. We delivered 44 or used 44.5816. So there we are. We're going to go hit the Starbucks, and I'll check back with you at some point on the way. All right. We're currently en route here. Wanted to point this out. Still on Mad Max. I'm going, when I first started recording this, I was going like 75 miles an hour. We're going 72 miles an hour right now in a 45. That feels a touch aggressive. We're gonna come bring this down to hurry and see what that does. Because at one point I was going 25 miles an hour over the speed limit. I mean, hurry didn't seem to bring it down. We're actually accelerating pace now. Let's bring it down to standard. 74 and a 45 is, and instantly goes into the right lane, still camped out in that left lane. I think that's definitely, I know a lot of people will drive like this, and it's probably conditioned based on people's driving habits, but especially in these conditions. I mean, you look at it, it's like, doesn't look good out there, but the water's right down there. You can't even see it through the fog. You can barely see those trees. And even on standard, I'm cruising off the bridge here in a 45 mile an hour zone, going over 60 miles an hour, really on my own. I get it when you're moving with traffic, it feels a little aggressive. It's the first time I've had to change the profile. You know, now we're in a 50 speed limit, going 59. You know, we're still passing, we're still making moves. I'm gonna kind of leave her here in standard for a bit to see what this does, because even in standard, I'm going 13 miles an hour over the speed limit right now. And in conditions where I'm getting alerts that say FSD may be degraded for poor visibility or poor weather conditions, I believe is what it said. And we got up here, I don't know if you'll be able to catch it, but caution, fog on the bridge. And we got Easy Pass coming up, which I don't have set up yet, so I gotta let you go to get that squared away. All right, got through the Easy Pass. We're on, I think this is the Jamestown Bridge. I'm not actually sure what bridge this is, but you can see not a lot of visibility, guardrails tight lanes. I got a bus leaning in on me right now. This is some real driving, and especially being on a bridge. You know, these are scenarios that, you know, spook drivers. And so far, with the exception of the speed, it was going when it was unrestricted by vehicles around it. It's handled this wonderfully. I mean, it is, those barriers there we're right up on it, and it's navigating it. I got a call coming in, I got to grab. We'll check back. All right, well, that's super weird. It's currently pulled off. It's taking me through a drive-through. I was on a straight road. It put the blinker on, and it pulled me through a parking lot, not where I was going, not where the navigation was showing. And now we're running around a drive-through to get back onto the road that we've come out at. That's the first real mistake that it's made. This was the road we were coming down. The navigation showed straight going that way. It had the blinker on. I suspect maybe there was an emergency vehicle that it had passed going the opposite direction. Maybe it heard the sirens, though the emergency vehicle had already passed. It was driving with the blinker on. It picked that parking lot to pull into. We did a loop through the drive-through, and now we're back on course. That was really weird. First time I've seen that. All right, we are just inside a mile from our destination here. Couple weird things, or really just that one really weird thing on this drive so far. But other than that and the speeding, which I still think was excessive in any conditions, let alone the conditions we were in. We're coming in, I got it set to parking lot, so hopefully it'll get me right into a spot and we can figure out where we're going here. But quick look at the statistics there. A little over half of this drive was done off interstate. So from our last check-in on efficiency, it picked up considerably. So this trip here was a little over 277 watt hours per mile, bringing our trip total to a little bit more efficient 30, call it 304. Even in the weather conditions, it was still the slower speeds off interstate helped. The trip, it consumed 3.3 less than was originally projected, and we're pulling in what looks like 36%. All right, just got done meeting a buddy, having a little late lunch, early dinner maybe, and about to continue this. We're headed to New London, saying 6% arrival. So far, trip efficiency for the whole trip, 303 watt hours per mile. We're 161 miles in, and we got 54 miles till New London. We're in full self-driving, and we're off. We got it set Mad Max and off to the charger. So hopefully this time we'll be able to have it take us right into the charger. I am still getting the FSD, maybe degraded, poor weather detected. So we'll see how she goes. A little left-hand turn here to make this. No problemo. Easy sport. All right, we're just pulling off the exit for the New London supercharger. Looks like we'll be pulling in at 7% state of charge. This trip predicted 6% arrival. We beat it by 1%. I believe the first trip was 9. We pulled in at 5 and missed it by 3, but it's pretty much spot on, minus the slow going on some of those back roads here. It was a pretty easy drive. FSD was flawless. There was nothing really to report. And we're gonna see here if it'll get it right into the supercharger, backs it up to a spot. I haven't done this successfully yet, so we shall see how it goes. Pulling in, I see the chargers. Chargers right over there. Couple cars charging, didn't get any alerts. Let's see what happens. Yep, seems to be doing a pretty good job thus far. Which one will it pick? Oh, but it's gonna, no. And here I am thinking I know better. Just did a little nose in, nose out. Yeah, look at that. It's pulling her right up. We're getting there, all right. Let me get out. Let me get plugged in. Well, that was me taking the seatbelt off a little too soon. That was on me. And in. Just started clearing up a little bit out there so that visibility was better. The visibility was better on this stretch, and we're charging. Ramping up real quickly here at 7%. I just want to watch it get to make sure we're getting max here, just for giggles. We got another 85 miles to make it back home here. It's saying 12 minutes to continue our trip. Just cracked the 200 mark. Already added a couple percent here at 9%. Still have not hit max power yet. It's been preconditioning for a bit. Almost there. Let's get a little light on. And we're pretty much there. There it is, 250 kilowatts. I kind of feel like around town and in traffic, Mad Max is the profile for sure. When you're kind of cruising, especially here at night when there were fewer cars on the road, I kind of preferred the standard. It was going about 72 in a 65, and it was prioritizing the right lane, but would take on traffic even before it would slow off a 72, which was good. But when I was in Mad Max, it was definitely, I was going, 77, 80 miles an hour, camped out in the left lane, nobody around. I don't really like that style of driving. I don't really love it. Man, it does add energy so quickly in the beginning. I'm not even talking about my profiles yet. We're at 15%, which is a great ramp up, but we're already coming off of max power. Just wish it held that just a little bit longer. Let's check out the balance of our trip here. Right now it's saying we got what is it? We got negative 21%. We're at 40% state of charge, pulling 127 kilowatts right now. 5 minutes to continue the trip. We just hit 1%, 2% state of charge arrival at home. Take a quick look at our trips. So far, the Rhode Island test, that's our little loop here. We're at 217 miles into the trip. We burned 68.2 kilowatt hours, so creeping up on a full battery. Since our last stop in Mystic, we had a little better efficiency with some of the off interstate rides, even with the weather. 122 miles, 309 watt hours per mile. I think I set this thing to 15% arrival at home. I do have charging at home, but I have free charging at work. I just want to make sure I'm not leaving it too low state of charge overnight, going into the office in the morning, and we'll throw some free juice in the car. Already showing a 6% arrival at home. So I mean, this is smart. I will say the one thing, I don't love the navigation in this. I still think Google Maps does a better job of navigating from point A to point B throughout it. There's some weird things where I don't know where the pin drops or the routes that it takes. I don't know that I love the navigation logic, but I'd say to just be able to follow it and go is worth the trade-off for sure. Quite honestly, right now, if this was the end destination, I'd have been out of here, 3 or 4% ago. I probably would have been out of here at 45%, and we would have been on to the next. But I'm gonna put a couple extra minutes, just kind of finish this up. We'll get out, we'll unplug it, and then we'll let this thing finish the trip. Let's see, how are my FSD stats? All right, we're up to 87% full self-driving since being on version 14. I've done a little over 500 miles of full self-driving and a total of 584 miles. So about half of its life so far has been on version 14. And of that half, 87% has been using full self-driving. So that's cool. Up to 12. I'm gonna wait till it says continue trip, because I didn't really pay attention to what. So here we are at 51% and it just dropped below 100 kilowatts. This is where, unless you can't make it to a charger, I don't know why you would charge past this. That's some not great power for how advanced this thing is. So I'm interested to see, because I can't remember what it did. If it dings at me, I don't know that I was paying attention last time, or I might not have even been in the car, but I'm curious to just see this experience. So it just says calculating. So it does say continue trip, however, and it says 0 minutes. I told it 15%, it's at 14. So even though it's not giving me any more time left and it's saying 0 time left, there's nothing audibly or visually that's happened to say, well, that I feel pretty stupid now. Okay. So that was pretty and enough to continue the trip. Yep. Should have known that was going to happen. All right, let's get out of here. Let's get unplugged. And let's get going. Disconnect. We're out. And we're out. Let's get back in. Seatbelt on. Hopefully we don't have any traffic. That was $16.05, 39 cents a kilowatt hour, and we put in or delivered 41 or expended 41.1582. Very precise. Full self-driving start. I'm keeping this one in standard right now just to really see kind of if I notice much of a difference in this. So that car is going to go. Oh, that was kind of a literally overly aggressive brake for that car that came up in front of me, but that's okay. God, I'll tell you, this is one hell of an experience. These are not my first miles on FSD, but these are my first miles experiencing what it would truly be like in an end-to-end situation, including parking itself into a supercharger spot. Been pretty good. Even with the tough weather, I got alerts for most of the day saying that FSD could be degraded because of the weather, and it was pretty bad weather there for an extent. I had the two disengagements trying to get into the Mystic supercharger, and I had that one really weird thing where it like turned off of the road where the navigation was clearly telling me the road was straight ahead, and took me through like a weird drive-through. Took a second to figure out like even why it was there, and then continued on, got back on the road. But other than those three things, it has pretty much been end-to-end spot on. So pretty impressed. We got an hour, 34 minutes, 84 miles, a little bit of traffic on the route, but hopefully it's smooth sailing as it's 5:36, and by the time hopefully I get through the New Haven area and that, traffic's letting up, or even better yet, there isn't a ton of traffic because of the fact that we're a couple days after Christmas, a couple days before New Year's. Hopefully people are not out in the normal commutes for work as much. So if anything interesting, we'll check back in. Otherwise, we'll catch you on the wrap up. All right, we are in our final mile here. This is going to be about call it a 304 mile little adventure. This was my first mini road trip that required charging along the way in the car. And I got to tell you, this is the experience anybody that is thinking about driving electric, if they don't do this first, I don't think they get a really good understanding of what it can and should be. I was talking to my buddy Jay, who has the Lightning, and even him, who's got a lot of miles on it, but doesn't do a lot of away from home charging, is still hesitant. They drove down to Mystic today as well, and they took his wife's gas car because he just, not kind of sure. And I'm telling him about my experience, and it was just. It was pretty seamless. I haven't done a single bit of touching this wheel since I left Rhode Island, since I left lunch in Rhode Island. I don't exactly know how many miles that is, but you know, well over 100, probably 130 miles, including pulling up to and pulling out of the supercharger and getting me right into my driveway here in about a minute. So I'm going to hit you with the final stats. I'm going to wrap this thing up now. We're looking at about 304 miles, 310 watt hours per mile. The last stretch was 302, about an 86 mile stretch. Said we wanted to arrive home with 15. By the time we unplugged, it was actually showing 16, and we're going to pull in at 20, maybe even 21, because I'm currently at 21% state of charge. So this was as easy as it gets, a little over a full battery. The total energy I used here was 94, call it 94.3 by the time I get in kilowatt hours. Thing's a trooper. This is my new favorite road tripping car. I can't wait to take a true, real long road trip in it. Hopefully a trip coming to Florida here soon. I'm just pulling up at home. Successful day. Thanks a lot. Catch you next time.